Well, I wasn't expecting this. Not only the deal itself to happen, but for it to happen as quickly as it has. Morgan Whittaker has officially signed for the Boro. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and wow, what do I know, eh? I did a video a couple of days back rounding up all of Boro's transfer rumours, and there was interest from Morgan Whittaker at Plymouth, and we were in a bit of a bidding war with Burnley, and some big numbers were thrown around, and I honestly thought to myself, if there's a team he's going to go to, if Burnley really want him, they'll get him, and at no point did I expect this deal to happen or to go through. I fully expected him to be in a Burnley shirt within the next few days, and here we are, Friday night at the time of recording, and Boro have pulled off the deal, signing Morgan Whittaker, one of the most highly rated young players in the entirety of the Championship from Plymouth Argyle, beating Burnley to his signature, which I think is incredible. You know, whenever you're up against parachute clubs who are in such as good of a position as what Burnley are at the moment, you feel like there's just no chance. The player's going to opt to go there, more likeness of Premier League football. They'll probably offer him more financially, but no, apparently once the interest was there and the deal was in place, Morgan Whittaker was happy. He didn't want to change his mind. He had his heart set on joining Boro, and I think that just once again, as it did with Ben Doak in the summer when we beat numerous Championship clubs to his signature, among many others over the last few seasons, it just shows and reaffirms the pull of Michael Carrick, the pull of this Middlesbrough side, the club, its reputation of how players have improved. Morgan Rogers, the most recent example. Players will look at Boro as a place where they can really use it as a place to either enhance their own career or maybe help achieve something special here at Boro itself. And I think that's sort of hinted at with what Boro said on their website, because the wording they used was quite interesting. It says the club has clinched the signing of Morgan Whittaker from Plymouth Argyle. I think clinched is a very interesting word, because we were up against some tough opposition, and Carrick alludes to that at the bottom of the article as well. It mentions the highly rated 24-year-old was attracting interest from a number of leading Championship clubs and has opted to head for Teesside, where he signed a 4.5-year deal. Born in Derby, Whittaker started with his hometown club and had short spells with Swansea, but it was the move to Plymouth which thrust the player into the spotlight, and his signature was much sought after by a host of teams. Initially on loan at Plymouth, he scored 9 goals in 31 games. Plymouth paid a reported £1 million to sign him in the summer of 2023 from Swansea, and since then he bagged 24 goals in 72 appearances, which is 1 in every 3 from a wide area, which I think is very impressive at Plymouth, and he's netted 4 goals in 22 this season. Michael Carrick said, "We're delighted to be able to bring him into the club. There was a lot of interest in him, but it says a lot that he wanted to come here and be a part of things." So yeah, this is a great deal. And I think the reaction on social media has been quite telling, because a lot of rival clubs from other parts of the Championship, Sunderland fans, shock, Leeds fans, Luton fans, Cov fans, I've seen them from everywhere, sort of jumping on this deal and trying to pick holes in it. And I think that maybe shows the envy of what Boro have pulled off here, and that is that we've signed one of the most sought after young players in the Championship, who last season was tearing it up and was linked with the likes of Lazio and other teams across Europe. And I think Boro have pulled off an absolute masterstroke here, because according to Dom Shaw, he does mention that Morgan Whittaker is likely to be a replacement for Isaiah Jones, which I find rather interesting. And he also later followed that up with a tweet where he mentioned that basically Boro have paid £5 million up front for Morgan Whittaker, with £2.5 million plus add-ons, which means essentially Boro have used the £5 million that we got from Isaiah Jones' sale to Luton earlier this month, and we've reinvested that instantly into the Morgan Whittaker deal. And although there are £2.5 million worth of add-ons in there, which may or may not be activated, we'll have to wait and see. The fact that Boro have basically spent nothing and upgraded Isaiah Jones with Morgan Whittaker, I think, is an unbelievable bit of business, and another example of Middlesbrough's current recruitment team working absolute miracles. It's a brilliant signing, and as I say, Burnley were right into him into the final few hours. They threw a late bit in there reportedly, but it didn't make a difference, and that's just so good to see from a Boro point of view. And looking at his stats and his numbers, a lot has come from the Plymouth end, from their fans, and it's very similar to what we got with Tommy Conway in the summer from Bristol City. You know, the fans of the club that he's leaving giving very negative thoughts on him. There were reports that he refused to play in their last championship game, which have now been debunked, and reports have come out saying he didn't. So I don't know if it's down to that or just the sort of, you know, frustrated, reactive way of looking at a big player. When your star leaves the club, you're naturally going to be a bit angry, a bit frustrated, and it's understandable, you know, in Plymouth's current league position. But a lot of them have said, well, he's this, he's that, he's lazy, he's this and that, he'll down tools, his attitude's bad, yada, yada, yada. For me, I don't care. I only care about how he conducts himself in a red and white shirt. We heard in the summer that Bergzorg was not really fond of and looked upon well in Huddersfield when he left there. His attitude was bad there, and yet he's come to Boro, improved massively, and has been great. Tommy Conway had the same sort of rep from Bristol City fans, who were again annoyed he was leaving them. He's been fantastic for us since he joined as well, and has gotten better. So I'm not worried at all about the club that he's leaving and what their fans have said. There are obviously some really interesting, insightful things that are being said, and interesting things that Plymouth fans have passed across. But the very reactive statements that he's this, he's that, I don't really read into that all that much, because I think Carrick and his track record proves he can improve players massively, and I don't think we'd bring in a player and spend as much as we have on him if we weren't confident that his attitude would be in the right place. And his numbers for Plymouth, albeit, as I say, this season haven't been great. He's played in a very, very struggling side under Wayne Rooney, who is notably not a great coach at this level. Prior to that, he was absolutely outstanding. Last season, he made 50 appearances for Plymouth, scoring 20 goals. This is again from someone who plays in a wide area, with 8 assists. In his prior loan spell, where he had 31 appearances, he almost hit double figures again with 9 goals and 7 assists. So for me, I think he's one of them players who is just making a natural progressive step up the football pyramid to a club like Boro, where when playing with better players under a very good coach who's known for improving players, I think he'll be an unbelievable addition to this Boro team. And I said, even when I was sceptical of this deal, but getting done, I was incredibly excited by what Michael Carrick could do with Morgan Whittaker, and we're going to see exactly what that is. However, the one question that needs to be asked, and I don't know the answer to this, I think it's been theorised by Boro fans, and pretty good conversations actually have been mentioned online about what will happen and where he'll play. I honestly have no idea, because predominantly for Plymouth, he's played on the right-hand side. That, for me, makes sense. He's an inverted winger who cuts in on his left foot. However, he's not going to play there with Ben Doak in the team. Now, he has been mentioned as a long-term replacement for Isaiah Jones, so I 100% feel like Whitaker will probably take up that right side when Boro do lose Ben Doak in the summer. So long-term, I think this is a great addition just for that reason alone. However, right now, we're not going to drop Ben Doak to play Morgan Whittaker on the right. So I don't know if it's either centrally or on the left. Now, from what I've heard, and again, I don't claim to be a scout who knows the ins and outs of Morgan Whittaker, but I've heard that he barely ever plays on the left-hand side and it wouldn't work, so that's probably not going to happen. So the only other alternative is he plays through the centre, but that's where Finn Azaz plays. So the only thing I can think of, keep Doak on the right, we have Morgan Whittaker central, we have Finn Azaz on the left. He'll do the same as what Riley McGree does anyway, which is float inside into a number 10 role anyway, so essentially Azaz's role won't change all that much, because we've got Ryan Giles now as well, and we'll need the left-sided player to roam inside and open up that lane for Ryan Giles to overlap into. So Azaz, I think, fits that role perfectly anyway, so we might be looking at a front three of Doak, Whittaker and Azaz in behind Lath and or Conway, with Ryan Giles bombing down the left-hand side as well. It is pretty mouth-watering. I cannot lie. Boro's attack is something else. It really, really is. And this just gives it another dimension. Obviously, we can't keep McGree fit. Bergzorg, I think, has been very good. but still, is he a player you can, rely on as a starter every week? I think we need more goals in attacking areas. That's been made a point of by some fans in recent weeks. I think Whitaker gives us more chance of goals than Bergzorg and McGree, who's always injured at the moment. So I think this is a very, very good step in the right direction, and just overall, as I say, a very big coup for Boro to beat Burnley to his signature. A player who was linked with clubs around Europe not too long ago. It's great, and he links back up with Finn Azaz, who of course they have past chemistry playing together at Plymouth as well. So yeah, this is a brilliant signing for me. I'm not reading too much into what's been said. I think things can be very reactive and emotional right now, especially from the Plymouth end when they're in such a frustrating position and things are obviously not going their way and they've just lost a star player. So I sympathise for them at this moment in time. But if there are any like-minded Plymouth fans in the comments who know him better than me, let me know where you think he will be best suited in this Boro side and his strengths and his weaknesses. And if you're a Boro fan, just let me know your thoughts on this signing overall as well. I essentially upgraded Isaiah Jones with Morgan Whittaker. Again, Kieran Scott, the man deserves a bloody medal. And so does Steve Gibson for once again backing his manager and reinvesting the money instantly this window. How anyone can knock Gibson or Scott absolutely baffles me. So I'm very excited to see what happens with Whitaker, what happens with Boro. We've had a very, very good window so far, I've got to be honest. Up until a few weeks ago, it was very, very quiet. Things were a little bit doom and gloom. But with the signing of Giles and Whitaker, and maybe more to come, Boro will hopefully be setting themselves up to have a very good second half of the season. We can only hope. But until then, guys, let me know your thoughts as always. Like and subscribe for much more Boro content. We preview and review every game. And if you are heading to the Preston game today, when this video will drop, there is a preview on this very channel. The last video was my preview of the Preston game, so check that out if you're travelling down or you want something to watch ahead of the Preston game. But I will be back to review that after the Preston game drops, either tonight when you're watching this or on Sunday. But until then, guys, do take care, and I'll see you all in the next one.